Hello everyone, I'm FARMERSIM and these are the top 20 PC-only script mods that I have running in every save game in Farming Simulator 25. Whether it's helping to achieve that extra bit of realism, adding features to the game that some would say should have been there in the first place, making the game look better and feel smoother, or just giving me the ability to tailor my game to suit how I like to play, these are the mods I feel that I cannot play without. They're in no particular order. Number 1 isn't better in any way than number 20 and vice versa. At the time of this recording, all the mods, bar a couple, are available to download. 1 or 2 are still in testing, but have already made it onto my list of forever mods. So, without further adu, let's get into it. Number 1 on the list is Additional Game Settings by Rockstar. When you have this mod installed, you will be given a separate and new menu tab at the top here, Additional Settings. This allows quite a few quality of life additions to the game and alterations that you can make specific to how you like to play the game, and it's been around for a while now. It's been in Farming Simulator 22 and it's one of those mods that I just tick every single time because for me as a content creator it adds a couple of very specific alterations and adjustments to make that I feel I cannot play without in the game. So, running through them very quickly, because I'm not going to spend too long going through each individual mod and go through every single bit of detail, because obviously with 17 odd mods considered in this video, if I spend 5 minutes on each one, this video would be extremely long. So, I'm going to try and get through them as relatively quickly as possible with as best an explanation of what they do as possible. So, Additional settings, additional game settings, gives you the option to toggle on or off your heads-up display, which is nice and simple. You can change the interface colour of all the text on your display to pretty much anything you want, which is brilliant. You can turn the crosshair on and off. You can alter the fade effect when you switch between cameras and vehicles. You can alter that between variants of milliseconds there, which is brilliant. You can turn on or off your information dialogue boxes, your blinking warnings, your camera scrolling on edges, for example, just quality of life things to make things a little bit smoother and a little bit nicer to look at. You can toggle on or off the option to auto start, which is great, automatically start the game when loading is complete. You can also alter what items appear in your shop, so if you want everything to appear, you can do. You can toggle along for default items, just mods and DLCs, just mods or DLCs. It's really, really very clever, this one. Gameplay wise, these are the options that the main reasons why I have this running on all my save games is the vehicle camera and player camera smoothness. It's something, again, it's very particular to me, but I really have a bit of a dislike to the way that the base default game feels when you're moving your camera and player around. I feel the cameras are very sharp. The movements when you go from right to left, I feel they can be quite sharp and janky, whereas with this you can dial up the smoothness to 100%, so when you go in and you're moving around left to right, the transition between moving is much smoother, and it's right up my street basically. So yeah, this is the main reason why I have it. You can also change the custom lighting here. Now basically this allows you to select the custom lighting from any map that you have in your mod folder, so it's very, very clever. I actually have, as you can see there, it says shadow and colour. I have a separate mod running. It's not actually a mod, it's a folder for darker shadows and lighting option that you put into additional game settings, and it allows you to select that, and it just gives the game, in my personal opinion, just a bit of a kick and gives it a nicer, crisper look to the, well, it gives it darker shadows and better lighting, in my personal opinion. It looks great on my screen, on my screen in front of me, so that's why I like doing it. But you can go right the way through and select all the different from all the different maps that you've got running on your in your mod folder. You can select the different lighting options from that, which is brilliant. Easier engine starting, you can turn that on or off. You can turn on or off the depth of field. Collision camera adjustments, simple flashlight control. You can change you can alter the walk mode, etc. There's a few different options for that, and you can also change the positioning and the display and color of your clock in the top. Well, you can have it in the top right corner, top left, and all that. You can, if I have it on there, change it. You can have it in the top right, bottom right, top left, or bottom left, or in the top or in the bottom. Nice bit of customization for those PC players who like to have things exactly as they want them. And you can have a few different bits and bobs here. You can change it to a bold font or a 24-hour clock, or the clock background and all that kind of stuff. You can turn it on or off, which is brilliant. So yeah, a really, really handy mod that kind of covers a lot of things that you can customize in the game, but one that I absolutely cannot play without. Next up on the list is the Yield Tracker mod by BitBarn Mods. Now, I forgot to mention at the very beginning of this video, all the links to these mods will be in the video description below, bar the couple that are still in testing. Those two mods are I believe they're on their way to the mod hub or have already been sent to the mod hub, but eventually they hopefully will be released on there. So links to everything else will be in the video description below. But yeah, Yield Tracker by Bitbarn Mods. This is another one that I just cannot not have in each of my save games, because it's just it just provides really helpful historic information. So Yield Tracker, it gives you it tracks your yields of all the fields that you've worked with. So field 16 here, I'm in my Saxlingham save here, because this is of all the saves that I've got active in my game at the minute, this is the one that's kind of been running the longest. But let's just highlight field 16, for example. We took some grass out of this field. It gave us 946,926 litres, and this just gives a record of it, and it carries on throughout the years as you go and for each harvest that you do. Let's have a look at the next one. So field 41, for example, we took some barley out of this field, 116,804 litres, and again it will provide readings and a graph down here for if you work in that field for each of the individual crops. So it's just absolutely brilliant. The crops, for some reason that it doesn't support red beets, carrots, onions, parsnips, sugarcane, poplar, grapes or olives. I can't give a reason why, I'm not too sure. As far as I'm aware, this is the latest version of the mod that I'm running on here. But yes, it doesn't support those crops. Unfortunately for me on this save, sugar beets, because I did a massive harvest in field 37 for sugar beets, but I couldn't get a reading on here, unfortunately. But it is what it is. It's all good, but it does everything else. So yeah, field 39, I took some sunflowers out of that. Just helps you to keep a record of what you got out of each field. So yeah, a very, very helpful mod, and one I have running in every single save. Next up is the Garage Menu by Oz. Now, when I mentioned at the beginning that there was some mods in this list that some people believe should have been in the base game to start off with, this is one of those mods. It's just a cracking addition to the game. When you go into your vehicle section, it just brings up, you've got a separate menu icon here. As you can see, it's the garage, and it lists all your vehicles in image form, and you can go through each one, see what it is, of course, and you got the option to sell it or enter it or view it on the map. Just that basic information, of course, that you get there for each individual thing that you're talking about, whether it's a tractor, a telehandler tool, you know the score. But it just puts it in a much nicer way in front of you. It's an individual menu, as opposed to the convoluted way that we were kind of given from base game, which is like this, where you go into the menu and then you've got it's just a tab at the top with a list of the vehicles. Yes, you get the same information, but it just feels a little bit more awkward and not quite as user-friendly as Garage Menu is here by Oz. So yeah, this is an absolute must-have in every single save game. It just makes things much easier to deal with. And of course, you do have an option here for switch mode. I haven't got any leased vehicles at the minute, but anything that you lease will appear in this menu here, and you get the option to return it when you're done with it, etc. It's there, it appears at the bottom there. But yeah, an absolute must-have mod there. Garage Menu by Oz. Next up, it's Manual Attach by Wopster. Now, this is one that I absolutely cannot do without. I love this element of realism that it adds to the game. Now, there's actually two variants of this mod available, and I think they both came out roughly around the same time. There's this one by Wopster that is called Manual Attach. It's on the mod hub. They're both on the mod hub, actually. And there's the other one called Attach Implements Manually by Bayern Gamers. There's no reason at all why I've chosen one over the other. I just have Wopster's in here just because, but it just adds an incredible bit of realism instead of just, obviously, as we're all used to, reversing up to vehicle machinery without having to get out the cab, and you just press a button and it clicks on. In this one, you have to get out the cab, you walk over to where you got to, obviously it involves you reversing up to things relatively close, but then you'll be prompted with the keybinds there. Now I run a controller, even though I play on PC I use a PS4 controller, but as you can see, you walk up to the implement, I then attach it, and then what you do have to do is manually do the hoses and the PTO separate. So you can customize the keybinds to whatever suits you, but I can then do what I need to do there, attach the hoses, attach the PTO, and jobs are good, and you can get on. But then when you want to disconnect again, just do the reverse, same, press the buttons again, and the PTO, and drop it off, and you're good to go. But yeah, an absolute must-have for that little bit of realism that might seem small, but it adds a huge amount to me, to the game. It really does. So yeah, Manual Attach by Wopster. Next up, it's Rounder Wrapped Bales by Ola Holdor. Now, this is what a base game bale looks like when it's been wrapped. Far too neat and uniform and neat and tidy, really. And with the mod running, this is now what a round wrapped bale looks like, and it just adds that little extra bit of realism to me that is just a must-have in every single save game. When your bale's been through the wrapper and it's been tightly wrapped in wrap, it deforms those neat edges, as it were, those sharp edges, and just pulls them all in a bit and rounds them off, and that is pretty much all there is to it. It's an absolute must-have by Ola Holdor. It's been around for a while, but yeah, a consistent mod in all of my save games. Next up on the list is, and sticking with the topic of baling, is the round baler extension by IFConator. Now, as you can see, as the baler has created the bale and it's just sticking it into the wrapper, the vehicle came to an automatic stop. Without the mod, that doesn't happen. I'm sure you're all aware, because it is quite a frustrating and difficult thing to keep track of when you're doing it. It involves a lot of concentration. You've got to stop and make sure that when you get to 99%, 100%, that you come to a dead stop, so that you don't miss any of your swaths when you're picking them up. But with this mod, I'm not touching anything here. The vehicle comes to it slows down itself, operates the baler, spits the bale out into the wrapper, and then carries on. This is all being done automatically by myself. I am driving this myself, and I'm on cruise control, but it does the job for you, as it were, without you having to manually stop, because I'm sure we've all been there, where you're picking up your swaths, and you kind of keep missing it, as it were, and getting to 99 and 100%, and having to stop and reverse back and pick up and get the bit of swath that you may well have just missed. So yeah, the round baler extension mod by IFConator is another proper quality of life mod and an absolute must in every single save game. Next up, it's Time Saving Stock Check by TW Productions. When you've got this mod running, you will be given a new menu icon here on the left-hand side. When you're in that menu, it's a really simple and straightforward heads-up display that basically gives you a rundown of everything that you have on your farm on your current save game. I'm back on my Saxlingham save here at the minute, again, because that's probably the busiest one that I've got here on my game at the minute. But yeah, it gives you a rundown of everything that you've got. So, for example, I have just over 51,000 litres of barley here in the silo. It gives me a rundown, tells me their current value, or its current value, currently just under £17,500. It gives you a price per unit. In this case, it's a grain, so per 1,000 litres. Tells me where to sell it at, which place on the map is offering best price, the maximum price you'll get for it, the maximum value of the quantity of that product as a whole, and it also tells you the best month to sell it in. And that is quite simply it. It's just an absolute must-have. It's a go-to for every single save game, because if you've got a very busy farm, it helps you. It really is a very simple way of keeping track of everything that you've got on your farm, how much you've got, what it's worth, when to sell it, and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, Time Saving Stock Check by TW Productions. Must have. Next mod on the list is the Realistic Economy mod by Mark Thor. Now, this is one of the couple of mods in this list that isn't actually out yet properly, officially. Mark was very kind enough to send me a copy of the mod not long ago, and he is planning on sending it over to the Mod Hub. I will post a link in the description below to Mark Thor's Discord, where you can keep an eye out for progress on the mod, but like I say, he is planning on sending it over to the Mod Hub for official release. But I've jumped into Time Saving Stock Check to kind of display a few things about this mod. Now, this mod is so all-encompassing. It's really, really detailed, and I think, quite frankly, it's deserving of its own video. But to try and go through things as quickly as possible, as briefly as possible, to give you an idea of what it does, it changes everything financially in the game, pretty much anyway. So, I'm in Time Saving Stock Check. I'm still on Saxlingham, and I'm going to overlay an image on and off here from the previous Time Saving Stock Check without the mod running, and this one here with the mod running. So, looking at the one previously, I'm going to use eggs as an example. So, the eggs in the previous one, I had a value, overall value of what I have at £509. Now, these are the eggs that I have on the farm currently. There's not a lot. And if we now have a look at the Time Saving Stock Check with the mod running, they're worth about 20 quid, or maximum price at the 56 quid. But again, those numbers ring true. That previously it was like 500 quid. You wouldn't sell these eggs for 500 quid. Don't even think there's 500 eggs there. So I'm using eggs as an example here, but yeah, the price, the realistic price, is so much better. But it affects and covers everything. Land prices, for example, farmland prices are standardised now in this Realistic Economy mod, using a realistic base value per hectare. Consumable costs have been rebalanced: seeds, fertiliser, herbicide, animal feed, mineral feed, silage, additives, etc. Crop yields have been adjusted to create a more believable balance between field size, machinery capacity, harvest output, market value. The production chains have been balanced. There's a worker labour system for AI workers that now pays them using a structured payment scheme, as it were, similar to real contracting labour. Workers receive a standard hourly wage representing normal working hours and are paid a minimum of an hour. There's call-out fees, there's overtime fees, weekend work, it changes. It's all-encompassing and it's massive, so every save game from now on from me will be using this mod. Now, putting it into a save game halfway through or midway through a save, a play, that does change things. Like I say, if we go back to the image of what I had previously in time-saving stock check here on Satchlingham, I had 19,451 quid's worth of barley using the mod. Now I've got 11,807 quid's worth. So that price does go down. It affects machinery as well. The prices of machinery are affected, which it's so all-encompassing. Like I say, it's deserving of its own video, really. But this is a mod that I will be running in every save game from now on. So yeah, like I say, keep an eye on his Discord. The link will be in the video description below. It is hopefully going to be making it to the mod up at some point soon. Mark is working very hard on this, but it is a brilliant mod and it just adds that extra level of realism. Some products haven't been affected price-wise. So, for example, the straw here, it's still valued at 53,910. That was the same previously in the other in the save without the mod running. So there's a few things that aren't affected, but generally as a rule, most things are. So yeah, it's an absolute must-have, like I say. But yeah, land prices, worker hours, grain prices, it's just, there's so much to consider with this mod. But yeah, an absolute must-have moving forward for me, for realism. Right, the next up mod on the list is the Adjust Animal Food mod by Ritter. Now this one's here, to showcase it to you, I need to kind of go into my desktop as I have done here just to show you what you do with this. It's dead easy to do, but essentially when you download the mod, you activate it as you ordinarily would a mod. For the very first time, you go into your save game. Once the mod is activated, just save and exit and go back out to your desktop. You then go into your file explorer, go to your documents, go to your save games wherever they are. In this case, I'm going to be going back to my Satchlingham one, save game 3. Once you've got it activated, you will be given a new XML file at the top of the list here called AAF_animal food. Give that an open, and this is essentially how I achieved 100% grass-fed beef. That's the only reason I really used this particular mod, but you are free to basically customize every animal that you can get on the game, and tailor the feed mix that you want to give that particular animal and the effectiveness of that feed to your liking. So, using grass as an example, of course, I changed the value from what it was previously. I think it was the same as silage here at 0.8 to 1.0. Now 0.8 here, that constitutes 80%. 1.0 constitutes 100%. If we go down and have a look at the other animals, for example, like pigs here, base food, 0.5%. That constitutes like a 50% effectiveness in the feed within the game, and etc, etc. 0.25, 25%. You can see where I'm going. That's relatively self-explanatory. But with cows, I gave them, I amended it from 0.8, I think it was, to 1.0. I've done the same with hay as well. As you can see, this one is they get basically 100% productivity from total mixed ration. That's what they normally get, but in this particular save, they get it from hay and from grass. So then, if I go into my game and show you that very quickly, this is now what we're met with when you go into your animal menu. They get 100% from meadow, from grass, from hay, and from total mixed ration as well. So yeah, it's really, really helpful. It's an extremely simple to use mod. You could do this previously with the process of taking an animal feed XML from another map if the map you're playing on didn't have it, and you'd copy it in and amend that animal feed XML. It was possible. It was a bit of a faff. There was one map in particular that had it, that allowed me to do it here on Satchlingham until this mod came around. But now it's here. It's an absolute must-have. It really is. Cracking mod there from Ritter. Like I said, link will be in the video description below. Next up, it's Field Gulls by Oz. Now, I suppose this one doesn't really need much of an explanation, does it? Just check it out. You run a handful of jobs in your fields. It's cultivating, ploughing, seeding, drilling, etc, etc, and you will get a flock of seagulls that come down into your soil following the implement that you're running, and they, in reality, they're jumping at the chance to get at the worms as you aggravate and turn over your soil. But what an addition to the game this is. It is absolutely incredible. Now, it does give you a bit of a menu within your settings as well, if you wanted to alter a few bits and bobs. So again, if we jump into our menu very quickly, go into settings and scroll right down to the bottom in the game settings section, you will see you've got an option to turn up or down the volume of the birds. You can increase the population of the birds, I guess, from by the default 70 right down to 10, or to the maximum of 200 if you want to. I'll keep that at 70, and you can also decrease or increase the chances of those birds appearing in the menus there as well. But what a mod. This is an absolute must-have for any save game looking for an element of realism. It's a cracker, it really is. Field Gulls by Oz. Next on the list, it is probably one of my favourites if I have to pick one of them. When it comes to visual immersion and realism, this one is an absolute beauty. It's the Cab Cinematic by Templeton Peck. So, you essentially approach your vehicle. In this case, I do have the added benefit of having a vehicle that has openable doors. Again, this is something that will add a little bit more immersion to the particular mod, but it's out of the control of Templeton Peck, the mod maker. He can't control whether every tractor in the game has openable or closable doors, of course, because there's hundreds of them. But if you've got them on that tractor, on the tractor you're using, it certainly does add to it, but it's absolutely brilliant. So, obviously, you need the engine on to be able to close your doors and all that, but if I open the door and then get out, it provides this wonderful little cinematic of you just climbing down the stairs and getting out and getting back in again. It's just wonderful. It supports other vehicles as well, not just tractors. It supports telehandlers, olive and grape harvesters, sugarcane harvesters, rice, potato harvesters, combine harvesters, forage harvesters, and pretty much most things. There's a couple of vehicles it doesn't support at the minute. The mod is still in development, but it is available to download. I will put a link to Templeton Peck's GitHub page. I feel kind of honoured at the minute that I'm in communication with Templeton Peck. I've kind of helped him a couple of times, just run a little bit of testing with a few different vehicles. It's in beta stage 0.20 at the minute, and in the very latest version he's added support for a handful of those vehicles, the olive and grapes, the sugarcane, rice, potato and telehandlers and such. But yeah, he asked me to run a quick test for him, which I was more than happy to do, because this is an absolute corker of a mod. Love it, and it's now active in every... As soon as I downloaded the mod, as soon as I was made aware of it a good couple of months ago now, I activated it in every single save game, just because it had to be done as far as I was concerned. It's I suppose, a part of the game that I just found a little bit frustrating, that you just appear in the cab and out of the cab, and just having this here now is just brilliant. It really is. I can't get enough of it. I think it's absolutely incredible. It doesn't take away from any performance of the game or anything like that. Just provides this wonderful custom cinematic entrance and exit into each of your individual vehicles. Yeah, so Cab Cinematic by Templeton Peck, an absolute beauty of a mod. Next up, it is Easy Development Controls by GTX, an absolute must-have as a content creator. This one is a no-brainer. You just can't do without it. You can do just about everything and control everything in any given save game within Farming Simulator. By default, you use the F12 button to bring up the Easy Dev menu screen here. I actually have mine set to F6 because F12 is my screenshot button for Steam, but that's by the by. You get a general, you got a whole load of menus here on the left hand side. You can add and remove money, set money, you can add extra time scales, you can stop the time in the game, you can remove the HUD visibility, the HUD input, you can delete objects, Bale locations. The menu, everything here is self-explanatory. You can change your FOV, and a whole load of other bits and bobs. Next menu down controls your player. You can turn off or on your super strength, flight mode, jump delays, jump multipliers, running multipliers, this, that and the other. There's a whole load of debug settings here as well. I've never really gone into any of those, but for those of you who dive a bit deeper into things, that's for you. Objects and fill types, you can add all sorts of items into the game that just drop right in front of you, whether it's bales, also all that kind of stuff. You can remove bales if you've got them sat in front of you, you want to get rid of them. Add pallets of all the products in the game, general mods and DLCs, all farm products, barrels, bathtub. The list is endless. You can just add whatever you want. You can add trees, plant trees. There's so many things you can do with this. You can control just about everything. If I was sat in a vehicle now, I'd be able to fill it with fuel, empty it of fuel, of DEF fluid, of air. If I had a trailer attached to it, I could fill the trailer with whatever products I wanted to, as long as that trailer supported it. You can change the dirt condition, the wetness condition, the wear and the damage of any particular vehicle just by clicking a couple of buttons. You can add work hours to a vehicle if you wanted to. You can remove them. So many things you can do. It's such a incredibly useful mod, this one. You can adjust all the placeables on here. There's loads of things you can do with this. You can change the field fruits from, so for example, soybeans at the minute, it's at growth stage green, what's termed green middle 2, but I can change that field 1 to potatoes. You can change all the fields, you can change everything, fertilizer states, lime states, weeds. It's all in front of you. It's relatively self-explanatory for the purposes of zipping through it and showing you what this mod does as an overview. It's incredible. You can do so many things with this mod. You can change the weather, the day, the time, all that kind of stuff. You can reload the environment if you're experiencing a few glitches or whatever. You can set the different weather types, rain, snow, sun, different variations of each of those individual things. Remove the tire tracks from fields. Yeah, it's incredible. There's so many things you can do, but an absolute must-have mod for, especially as a content creator, when you're trying to set something up relatively quickly for a video, for example. It just allows you to do all of that. But yeah, an absolute must-have for any PC player, in my opinion, anyway. But as a content creator, it's definitely a must-have. But for me, it's always there. Easy Development Controls by GTX. Next up, it's the Adjustable Storage Capacity mod by Ritter. This one's a corker for me, it really is. So it does away with the... I mean, it's straightforward, but it's a bit of a faff having to go into XMLs and amend capacities if you wanted to change the capacity of anything on your farm, whether it's a trailer, a combine harvester, an animal pasture, the feed trough in an animal pasture, whatever. You can change capacities by just altering numbers in XMLs, but this mod makes it so much more straightforward. You walk up to any given thing, you can walk up to your tractors, your tools, or anything, it recognises them all. Hit K, and you're brought up with this heads-up display, and pretty much you're free to just change whatever you want. So say, for example, 50,000 litre capacity of this animal food trough wasn't enough for me. I can delete it or change it or add a few more zeros into it if I wanted to. Hit enter, and that now gives me a 50 million litre capacity in this animal food trough. If you're not happy with what changes you made, you can quite simply reset all. It does recognise and reset things to their default values. But yeah, for any individual capacity and any individual thing, you can change it to your heart's content. It's absolutely brilliant. As I say, it works for tools, barrels, anything. The only thing it doesn't work for is systems that support bales and pallets, but pretty much everything else it works for. You can do it from outside or you can do it from in cab as well. So we'll jump into this 7810, and if I hit K while I'm in cab, it brings up the little heads-up display that recognises I've got 2, or in this case 3 fill units that I can amend. The 7810 has 2 fill units, that is for fuel and air, and the lime spreader that I've got behind me has a capacity that can be adjusted as well. So I can adjust this from the standard 20,500 litres, or I can add whatever I want into this, make it hyper realistic, super realistic, or just easy enough for me to do a particular job. But yeah, it's all good. You can just change it, hit enter, and go with that. And if you're not happy with the changes you've made, just hit reset and jobs are good. But yeah, it's an absolute must-have, this, for me. It really is. It makes the faff of having to come in and out of a game if you suddenly decide that the capacity of something you're working with isn't as you want it. It just means it's so much more straightforward. Just walk up to something, press K, jobs are good. And it doesn't alter the XML, it just keeps it specific to your save game. So that's another thing I really appreciate about it. But yeah, the Adjust Capacities mod by Ritter. Next up on the list is the Realistic Cab View by Loki79. This is a cracking little bit of script wizardry. It has been around for quite a while, but it's an absolute must-have every time I start a save game here in Farming Simulator. By default, in the game, you are free to rotate through 360 degrees right the way around, just indefinitely, and there's a little bit of clearly unrealisticness about that. Not only would you put your back and your neck out, but yeah, you can't sit in a seat and just spin around constantly, can you? What this does, it adds a bit of limitation to that. So if I scroll and move round to my right, I'm then hit with a hard stop just about there before I need to go and contact a chiropractor, and it's the same the other way around as well. Boom, you hit with a bit of a stop there, which is absolutely perfect. But the other thing it does add in is if you're sat in your cab and you press shift, it then just leans you forward a little bit, regardless of where you are, what position you are. It leans you forward and gives you a bit more of an extra view around your cab, again adding to that little bit of realism. If you're reversing up to an implement, you can just have a quick bit of a peek out there and just see if you're getting close to hitching up. But yeah, it doesn't need much more of an explanation than that, does it? It just adds a little bit more realism to your dynamics in the cab. It's an absolute beauty. Realistic Cab View by Loki79. And the next one on the list is the Feed Calculator mod by NX Modding, a wonderful little bit of script mod here. This quite simply calculates monthly feed consumption per husbandry and animal breed type. It is based on true animal data, age, subtype, input curves and lactation shows monthly consumption and time remaining in the animals menu, is compatible with vanilla FS25 animals and enhanced animal systems, and it is multiplayer safe with automatic recalculation for animal changes. Yes, that was me reading from the mod description on the mod hub. But as you can see in one of my animal menus here, I'm in the goats here on Saxlingham, and it's obviously we're used to what we see here, but this little bit of text above the total capacity, it tells me that these animals will go through 54,972 litres per month, and there is currently 43,251 litres remaining, and that remaining feed in this particular animal pen will last for 3 days. That's the bit I love about this, is the fact that it tells you how long you've got left before this trough will be empty of food based on how many animals you've got, their age, etc., their consumption. Brilliant little, I mean, from the outset as a player, it seems relatively simple. I was not taking away from how difficult these kind of things are to create as a modder, obviously, because I'm not, but from a, the simplicity of this, I feel is just superb. A brilliant mod from NX Modding there. As I say, link to all of these, link will be in the video description below to its download there on the mod hub. Next one to look at is the More Visual Animals mod by Ritter. Now, since Arrow's departure from the modding community, this mod was kind of wrapped up in the Realistic Livestock mod. It then became a separate entity from that mod, and then obviously, a little while ago, unfortunately, a very gifted modder, Arrow, did decide to kind of pack it in, as it were, but he did give a kind of blanket authority to anyone to take over his mods from where he'd left them at. So Ritter has been busy in the over the last while working on a Realistic Livestock version, which is out there, and also this More Visual Animals mod, as well as a whole load of other things. He's a very busy and gifted, talented modder. But the More Visual Animals for me is just one that adds that little touch of extra realism, because by base game, it's, you can have big pastures like on big American maps with big open pastures. I know I experienced this on my Iowa cattle series a while ago, but I had these vast pastures. But by default, the base game just only showed a handful of those animals. So I had hundreds of cattle in my pasture, but you could only see about 10 of them. And it was like, this isn't very realistic. But with this mod, that's all changed. So you need to get yourself into one of your pastures. When you've got the mod installed, if you press Shift and T, it brings up a heads-up display there. And now, but you can alter this. Basically, you can click on the recommended, or you can turn it right up to something silly if you wanted. So I'll do that. It will take a few seconds to process. So I'll click on that. And there we go. Now we've now got a whole load of more visual animals in the pasture. It does take a few seconds to compute, as it were, or whatever, to calculate. The game kind of just froze a little bit there, but that was to be expected because it's recalculating something like this. But now I've got, what did I set it to then? About 107, 115. So yeah, it's pretty awesome. But then you can dial that right back down again if you wanted to do whatever you want, if that was too much, because it can be quite, I suppose, demanding on a system if you got something like this. But yeah, you can change it to a really heavily populated pasture like this now. Kind of looks, I suppose it looks a little bit too overpopulated, doesn't it? So you can dial it back to your heart's content depending on the size of what you're working with. But yeah, a brilliant mod from Ritter, More Visual Animals. Right, next one is the adjustable production points by Baler Gamers. This is a cracker. This came around at exactly the right time. I was really quite grateful for it. It was only a couple of days ago. I was doing a recording here on my Gauge Kentucky series, and one of the production systems that I've got on here, the large corn dryer, was at risk of running very slow for what timing I wanted the dried corn to be done by. Sure enough, and I needed the option of adjusting the cycles per month, because by default this one was pretty low at about 2.88. Sure enough, within a day or two, this mod was released on the mod hub by Baler Gamers, and it's absolutely brilliant. So you go into your production systems, you click on the products in particular. We'll click on the corn dryer here, for example. You're then given an option at the bottom of the screen there to adjust production cycles. Quite simply, it brings up a heads-up display. You're free to change that from whatever it is to whatever you want. I can change it to something quite stupid, which will get everything done in seconds. I just adjusted this from the default 2.8 to this 1000, so it got all that dried corn done for me essentially overnight. But yeah, I was really grateful for the arrival of this mod. It's absolutely, again, by default you can change things in the XMLs, going back out in and out your game, changing values in XMLs and altering the file essentially, and then coming back into the game. If it's a mod that's on the mod hub, you then, if you've customized it to suit you, you are then unfortunately left with a mod that, according to the game, is in constantly needing of updating because you've changed the file. This does away with all of that. You can amend the different in this case, you can adjust the capacity of a mod. In this case, I've dialed this right up to a 5 million capacity of corn and dried corn and straw, because that's what this particular mod runs on. But yeah, it's brilliant. One of the base game dairies here, for example, this is a base game thing, one of the small $36,000 pound, euro, whatever production systems, and you can change. So let's have a look at this. The cycles per month here are 14.4 for this particular product of bottled buffalo milk. You can adjust the capacity of it, and if I click on it, you can adjust the production cycles as well. So to go from 14, I can change that right the way up to 1,400 or 14,000 or whatever I want. It's just so versatile and so useful. You can do it for each of the individual products, and it's just an incredibly brilliant, simple to use mod. The adjust production points by Bayern Gamers. Righto, next one is the store deliveries mod by Viper GTS 96. It's just such a useful, handy mod to have on your farm and in your games. This one, it really is, especially if you're building a farm and you're setting something up and it happens to be on the other side of the map from wherever the dealership is on the particular map you're playing on. This can save you a huge amount of time. Admittedly, it does cost a small fraction when you have any kind of implement or vehicle or any description delivered to the point that you set on the map. It will charge you a 2.5% markup on top of it, but it is what it is. You know, you pay for the easiness of it. Really, it can save a whole load of time going back and on a map. But essentially, if you've got the mod running, what you'll need to do is just press using the left alt and left shift. You press alt, shift and S, and you will see the pink circle appear, and you'll hear that click. When you hear that click, you've set the point on the map, and that will be defined. You can see within the boxes of these this relatively bright little box that's marked out here. There you go. That's now where the shop sell point is, and if we jump into the map, there you'll see it's highlighted by the basket icon there on the map, and it works quite simply. You can go to your shop, pick on anything. There we go. We'll have that just for the purposes of making it quick, and that's now been delivered here. And as you can see, we paid an extra $1,089, a 2.5% markup on that 42.5 grand tractor. Nice and easy. And then if you wanted to reset it or change it to somewhere else, you're free to just alt shift and S to somewhere else. It will change it there and then. But if you want to reset it to the default, back to the default place on the map, you just press alt shift and X, and then you won't hear anything, but you'll see that pink icon flash. And when you jump back into your PDA, you can be assured it's obviously that basket icon has disappeared, and it has been back set to the default vehicle shop there on the map. On this case, it's Riverbend Springs. But yeah, nice and easy, but a very, very helpful and extremely simple mod to use there. Store Deliveries by Viper GTS 96. Now, the last two mods that I'm including as quickly as possible in this video are Courseplay and Autodrive. Two mods that I use all the time, always active on my save games, but both of them individually require multiple videos. You know, Autodrive is so very detailed that if I was to try and do a single video on that, it could be over an hour long, because the detail involved in running beginners through that, and you know, there's a lot to take in on board with Autodrive. Autodrive is an all-encompassing kind of satellite navigation around a map. Essentially, it does involve a lot of input from you as a player. You can create a lot of things automatically by it basically can use the traffic network splines on a map to set out a base route around any particular map if that map has a traffic spline on it. If it doesn't, it's up to you to manually record the directions of the roads and the lanes and the fields and all that kind of stuff into the game. I enjoy that kind of thing. To some people, it's not your cup of tea. I get it, but Autodrive is a mod that I do have running in every single save game. Again, I'm mentioning them here in this video because that makes it up to the 20 that I've talked about, because these are the 20 mods that I have running. But Autodrive in itself and also Courseplay require their own multiple videos. Courseplay is obviously it's a mod. It manages all the fieldwork side of things. So the simplistic way to put it is Autodrive manages the road network and the unloading and loading of products from silos to harvesters into sell points and all that kind of stuff, delivery and collection and all that stuff. And Courseplay is just for the field work, so it's a much more detailed, encompassing method of managing your field work. You can basically automate any kind of field work with any kind of tool: potato harvesters, tractors, planters, cultivators, anything like that, you can run on Courseplay. It's got, but yeah, if we go into the menu for Courseplay, for example, there's a lot to take on board. There's a lot to teach and talk about. You can make custom fields. So for here, for example, I'm on my Saxlingham save. I have this in the, you know, if you looked at it from above, it's just a meadow pasture. You can't really, it's nothing really it's not a defined field within the map. As you can see, that's what a defined field looks like. But yeah, you can create custom fields. You can do so much with it. It's so detailed. You can save all your different courses, save fields. You've got different, you can save the courses for the individual tools that you're using. There's so much to talk about with Courseplay, so much to focus on that it's, you know, it's impossible to mention and try and squeeze into a couple of minutes clip within this video. So yeah, these require their own videos. I've done a Courseplay and an Autodrive video at the very beginning of Farming Simulator when these two were first came back to FARMERSIM, but the mods have been updated quite a few times recently over the last year or so, and they do require, I think I do need to do a separate kind of tutorial session on both of those mods. So hopefully in the near future they will be coming, but I just needed to mention them both in here as numbers 19 and 20, Courseplay and Autodrive, two must-have mods that I absolutely can't do without in Farming Simulator. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, a relatively brief overview of the top 20 mods that I run in every single one of my save games, mods that I cannot live without in Farming Simulator. We're very lucky at the minute. We've had such a huge amount of really, really clever, innovative, yeah, mods being released for Farming Simulator 25 lately. We've got so much to choose from. Yes, there are many other mods that you guys out there might consider to be must-have mods. These ones, the top 20 that I picked here, are the ones that I always go for. We all play differently. We've all got individual ways of playing, haven't we, and preferences and all that. There's loads of others. There's things like realistic livestock. I'm sure a lot of you out there, that will be a mod that you cannot do without. For me, it's something that's really, really cool. It adds an incredible level of realism to a game, but it's not always something that I have active in every single save game. It's the kind of thing I'd have active in a particular save game if I was going for hyper realism, for example. So that's why that particular mod isn't included in this video. But you see where I'm going with it. We all have different ways of playing, different styles and all that, and different preferences. So the 20 I've just shown you here are the ones that I always select in every single save game. So, but like I said, the links to all of the mods, bar a couple of them, will be in the video description below. Most of the links will be to the mod hub. There will be a couple of itch.io links as well. Like I said as well, with Mark Thor's Realistic Economy mod, I will post a link to his Discord, so you can keep an eye out for updates on that particular mod on there. There's also a link to my own Discord if you fancy joining my Discord there. It's a wonderful, silly place. It's my Discord, so yeah, if you fancy a bit of a laugh, you're more than welcome to join. The more the merrier. The link will be in the video description below. But aside from this video, I'm going to call it here, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for watching. I really do hope you have enjoyed this video and found it a little bit of fun and a little bit interesting. If you're new to the channel and you've enjoyed the video and you like the way I'm doing things, please consider hitting that subscribe button and jumping on board, joining the channel. Please hit the like button too, as it does do wonders, helps the YouTube algorithm do its thing. And if you like the idea of supporting the channel, there are a couple of ways you can do that. There is my Giants Partner promo code. If you're looking to purchase Farming Simulator 25 or any of its add-ons or DLCs, there is coffee.com if you'd like to buy me a coffee. And there is also my G-Portal affiliate link if any of you are looking to purchase a multiplayer server to play with your mates. Any help and support with any of these, ladies and gentlemen, would be massively appreciated. So, thanks again for your time, everyone. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one.